wants to come out a little bit further, she'll kind of make her way on her own time. Now, on those arms that I just talked about, she does have a lot of suckers. Now, it's hard for me to ask for guesses since you can't see her, but just off the top of your head, has anybody ever seen an octopus? Can they give me a guess of how many suckers they think she might have? Over here?
400.
400, great guess. Right here?
800.
800. 200. Over here? Anyone else? Yeah, right here in the tie-dye. 500. All great guesses. I'm going to give you a big hint. It's more. She has over 2,000 suckers. She has in total about 2,240, which is a ton of suckers. So she uses those suckers to both taste and smell, so she can taste that fish, like I said, and she's not doing it with her mouth, she's doing it with her suckers here. So that's kind of why she's hanging on my finger still. And she's thinking about coming out. But it's a really, really incredible adaptation that she has. So as she's kind of walking around the ocean floor, she can kind of taste things and she finds anything that she wants. And at that point, she'll either grab something that she can munch on, like a tasty crab, or continue along her way. Now, something else you can't really see quite yet, I'm going to see if she can come out and show us. She also has the ability to change the color of her skin, which is a really, really incredible thing. Octopuses can change their color within 0.3 of a second. That's faster than any other animal on the planet, with the exception of other cephalopods, so things that are very closely related to the octopus, like a cuttlefish or a squid. Now, the reason she can do this is because she has very specialized cells known as chromatophores. Now, when she relaxes and contracts her muscles, she is determining what color she wants to be. She can do this based on her mood or based on what her surroundings are showing her. So if she wanted to kind of blend in with this rocky substrate, she can make herself very polka dotty. If she wanted to just be bright red, she can do that as well. And she can all do that basically with the snap of your fingers. I'll give her another little piece of food here, see if we can get her out.
What is the food?
Today she's getting a variety. She's got some fish in here, and I think caitlin and shrimp.
I'm just waiting for my phone to die because it's at like...
Oh, got barely any left.
Yeah, I think it's at like 18. It's so cool.
So I'm having a little bit of trouble getting her to come out, and that's okay. Like I said, she gets to choose what she does. On the side, though, she does have 2 gills, so she needs to breathe underwater, just like a fish might.
Her hand is covered with the tentacles. That's so cool.
Now, Olsen is a pretty friendly octopus, and this is a very enriching experience for her. So she's actually hanging on to me rather than her food even at the moment. So this is one of those times where she gets some human interaction. She's very curious, and she might not necessarily eat.
Are her eyes even
Sometimes we
open?
see that our octopuses will come out and play with us for a little while, and then when they're ready to go back, they'll kind of pick up some of those pieces that they dropped. So I'm gonna kind of stop feeding her, and I'm gonna see if she wants to play with her toy. This is one of her favorites. It's a watering can.
Whoa!
And we found with our last octopus that they really like that feeling on their arms and their body. We think that it kind of tickles her arms. So you can see she changed her color immediately when I started playing with this toy. And she's already starting to interact quite a bit. So she seems to be more in the mood for interaction and enrichment than she is in the mood for food.
Come stand over here.
Something else that's pretty neat about octopuses is that they're about 90% muscle. So I already talked about her ability to change colors. I have not talked about her ability to change the texture of her skin.
Like all
So because she's so muscular, she's obviously very strong, and she can pull herself out of the stick very easily if she wanted to, which is why we keep the lid on all the time, except when we do these presentations and when she's being monitored. But she also has the ability to make her skin kind of ripply and textured like a rock, or she can make herself very smooth like a bowling ball. And it's all up to her.
That is so cool. Look at that.
So cool.
Wow.
Now she does have 2 eyes, both on the side of her face, if you can call it a face. It's a little bit confusing for some people because they think that big bag-like structure is actually her head. What that is called her mantle, and it's basically more like the abdominal region. So all of her internal organs are stored in that little pouch. So her eyes are very sophisticated. They're trying to get out. Similar to human eyes, but they can see in color. So a lot of questions that we get are, well, how do they blend in so well? So scientific studies have recently shown that they think that octopuses have Olsens in their skin, which means that they can kind of sense light and dark with their skin, which gives them that great ability to blend in so well. There's some awesome YouTube videos that you can watch of octopuses that you can't even tell are in the picture until they move. And it's pretty amazing what these guys can do. Something else that's very important to note is that Olsen here is an invertebrate, so she does not have any bones. She doesn't even have a shell for protection. She only has really one hard part in her body. She technically has the eyelids that are hard, but the biggest part of her body that is a rough or hard surface is going to be her mouth, and it's shaped like a bird beak. It's made of keratin, just like your fingernails. And that is what she's going to use to bite into her prey. So something like a crab. If she bites into that crab,
What's the 10%?
she's immediately going to inject what we know as cephalotoxins. So cephalotoxins are going to paralyze the prey, and she's also going to inject some of those digestive juices, at which point she's going to slowly digest that crab as it liquefies from those enzymes. So all of the meat inside of the crab just kind of dissolves, and she slurps that up like a seafood milkshake. So that's kind of the way that she feeds. If she does not have the ability to pierce the shell, something more difficult might be something like a crab, or excuse me, a clam or a mussel. What she then will do is she will take a radula, which is basically a tongue with teeth on the end, something similar to that, that's kind of how you would compare it. And she would drill into that shell. So she can drill a teeny little hole, inject those same cephalotoxins and enzymes, and then she'll slurp all that up as well. So we're slowly getting her to come around. I'll see if I can give her another little piece of food here. She tends to like shrimp a lot. Try that. There you go.
Oh my god, that's so pretty. That is so cool.
Now we do know that Olsen is a female octopus because she lacks one very important organ that the males have, and it's known as a hectocotylus. And it is visible from the outside.
Wow.
And I don't have it with me, but you can check. We've got one on the back wall over there. One of the volunteers would be happy to kind of hand that over. And basically, it's one smooth tip on one of their arms, and they use that to pass along the sperm packet to the female octopuses. Now, in the very beginning, I did mention that these guys are very solitary animals. So those guys don't try to mate before the end of their life. They're known as terminal spawners.
It's so cool.
So Olsen, when she gets older, is going to go into something called senescence. At that point, she's letting us know, I'm ready to go out to the wild. She's going to have some behavioral changes. And she's going to mate with a male. And at that point, she's going to lay between 50,000 and
She's like, I love my cans.
So there's a lot of them. Out of those 50 to 100,000 eggs, only a couple of them survive, maybe 2 to 4. So you can consider consider all of these octopuses that are about this size or so. Sweetie, I need you to step behind the blue tape, please. You can consider those guys the lucky ones because out of 200,000 eggs, 2 surviving is very, very, very low odds. I'll let her crawl around here, do her own thing for just a second so that you all can see her on that side. Now, when the octopus hatch from their eggs, they're about the size of a grain of rice, so they're teeny, teeny, tiny, and they don't have that big of an ability to swim around.
It's going to try to get out.
They're going to get pushed with the current, and they might just accidentally go into something like an anemone, in which case they're very easily going to be eaten. They're also the perfect little bite size for other things like fish, so they don't have those high odds, simply because they get eaten by everything else. Even humans like to eat octopuses. So we can't blame the rest of the ocean for wanting to eat them too.
What's so interesting about
Wow, that's cool. Wow.
Now when Olsen does go into the nest, or she tells us, and just no flashes please, or she tells us she's ready to go for other reasons, like she outgrows the tank, which can happen very easily. We will then release her back into the wild.
Somebody back there.
The male, on the other hand, will not survive much longer after he mates. She'll live maybe 6 months to take care of those eggs. The male is going to live maybe a couple of weeks to a month, and once he mates, he will naturally die very soon after. So like I said, they're considered terminal spawners. So we also think of them as terminal spawners. She was a salmon. So the very, very end of their lifespan, that's the last thing they're going to do is reproduce. Now something I didn't talk about is their growth rate. Olsen is about 10 pounds, like I said in the beginning. And she does have the ability to grow very, very quickly. Their lifespan is only 3 to 5 years. So they actually don't live very long. I mentioned that they hatch from eggs about the size of a grain of rice. So 10 pounds is pretty fast to grow in about 3 to 5 years. So imagine a 100-pound or 200-pound.
I want to stick my hand in there so bad.
3 to 5 years. And they have to grow from that teeny tiny little egg all the way up into that amount of weight. They're going to do this very, very quickly because they have what is known as indeterminate growth. Basically, their size depends entirely on how much food they have. So like I said, those octopuses in Alaska tend to be big because they have a lot of access to great food supply. As long as we keep Olsen at a healthy weight, she will not outgrow her tank very quickly. We do monitor her weight as often as we can. And the way that we do that is we actually put her in a water basket. We take her out of the water, weigh her very quickly, and then put her back in.
Oh, yeah.
She gets fed at these public presentations.